speaker, Dr. Ebrahim, Alinia-Ahandani. I hope you are all well, inshallah.
The major points, heavy metals are forever. We must know about that. Heavy metals are very necessary to our world, but because of their different roles in our body and in our environment, they are playing some vague roles that we couldn't understand carefully about their roles in our world too. We're concentrating them and spreading because of our activities in daily routine days, and we can increase them in our human verticals or animal contact without any knowledge or pre-knowledge. There are methods to manage them as long, and there is vigilance for the next millennia, or there is some remediation, and we must know that system thinking about the critical roles of them in our body. And nowadays we are finding a lot of roles to reduce them from our environment, and we are trying to know about the environmental problems of them that make a lot of disasters for our routine days. Outline what are heavy metals and how are they bound to the soil, food change, and we must know that plant and animal together can play the role, and especially and critically, they are adding our heavy metals and reducing heavy metals contamination, resulting like as arsenic or cadmiums, resulting in skin rashes or some headaches, negative reproductive effects that can make a lot of bad effects for reproductive, and such as sperm damage, birth defects, and some other ones that nowadays it was distinguished mostly in our routine days. And between the change of the food, we can reduce them as more. Heavy metals in the environment, most in deposits in earth, were safe. Generally, low levels in soil we can find mostly by mining and consuming metals. They have become more toxic to the biosphere and have spread where humans come into contact with them, and the toxicity of inorganic contaminants and release into the environment area is now estimated to exceed that from radioactive and organic sources combined together. As we know, heavy metals can be transferred and conveyed easily from different sources in our chain, and especially from food that nowadays in Middle East, in Pakistan, Iran, Iraq, and some other countries. As you know, we have a lot of traditional foods, especially for our drugs too. We're adding a lot of heavy metals from soil to our foods. In this slide that we can see here, it can be added a lot from 1976. That was made by Bradley and Well in 1999. It was reported that a lot of sources can make and add a lot of toxic metals to ourselves too. And the first one that we want to talk about is chromium. Chromium is an essential nutrient for humans, and shortages may cause heart condition and some metabolism disorders and make a lot of diabetes. And uptaking of a lot in this element can cause health effects as well, and it can influence skin rashes for us too. And as you know, the upper levels of this element can make cancer easily. Chromium is a danger to human health, and mainly for people who work by them. Here in Raijan, the northern place in Gilan, as we know, that's the temperature, and we have a lot of rain here. Unfortunately, we don't have any lead, mostly in our soil, that I researched on our vegetables, but I think step by step that we're going to be industrialized in our routine life. It can be added easily to our food chain again too. And especially salinity and some other fertilizers can add cadmium easily to our food chain too. Cadmium health effects are raised. Health effects are carcinogen that I've told, respiratory and testicular and pancreatic cancer, reproductive toxin that reduce birth rate and premature birth, especially in some kind of like a Middle East, and stillbirth and spontaneous abortion and behavioral and learning disabilities. And regulation on air is 0.05 microgram in a day is accepted, and soil maximum must be 4 ppm. As we know, a lot of standard levels are more or less, but I know just in America, and food measures source of cadmium of non-conventional exposure, especially for wheat and potatoes, that can add a lot of them to our food chain. In this picture, you can see that arsenic in drinking water in the US or in some parts are hazardous, and the western and the northern and the southern parts of America, especially, they are contaminated from these parts, and they are making a lot of controls on the arsenic transferring to the water, and concentration of arsenic and lead, in fact, after roots, leaves, and fruits. First, we must control the rooty vegetables and like some tubers, and root skins is higher than inner flesh in plants. And root absorbs, but they maybe don't transport PB a lot. And apples and apricots contain low PB and arsenics, and haven't found any regulations on arsenics in fruits. It is very questionable, and organic arsenic may be less toxic than inorganic compounds of arsenic, and organic arsenic may be predominant in fruits and vegetables, the natural remediation. And animal uptake of soil too, but up to 30% of diet in soil for sheep, goats, and up to 18% for cattle, depends on management, how much the animal gets soil, and direct ingestions of soil particles may increase uptakes of heavy metals too. As we know, cows can use a lot of direct ingestions of soil particles from eating the soil, from the leaves and something like that, that can be added. And it's better to use some cattle or cow meat maybe from non-industrial places, or maybe it's better to be cultured or train these animals in some special areas. And the browse lines that we're showing here with some pictures. And how can we manage and arsenic contaminated soil? It's easy. Add organic matter, keep pH high with lead, and biological remediation that I told from snails, and add lime that it's showing from some forests, and hyperaccumulations of some plants that can add different toxic metals in their tissues, and we can use them. Accumulations of some plant tissue concentrations of 4%, like of zinc, can be used in some parts, like as talsfi is a kind of plant, and a bread fern, like a Tedriss vita, can accumulate arsenic, and for lead, calots or solubilized lead and plant can take it off, and some other examples accumulate from mine, tail nowadays too, and lab tips. Here, thank you to all the loved ones who had the opportunity to talk to us about this very important issue. And Iranian scholar, I wish that there would be peace everywhere in the world, and that war would become peace everywhere. Here, I remind the children of Yemen, Syria, Afghanistan, on all the oppressed countries that are under rubble and bombs these days. And I hope that one day all countries, especially Muslims, will work harder together for each other. And thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I'm here to